Hello, welcome back, Steve's Retirement Corner. Bleeding cash in retirement. I'm telling you, Doc, we bleeding it like it's water. What's that old saying? Bleeding like a stuck hog. Hey man, the summer months are bad for us as far as spending. This is that old concern I had before I retired. I knew I was going to have it before I retired, and I knew it would never leave me. Spending without having a job is a hard daggone thing to get used to. It is for me, man. I don't lie to you. I don't care how much you plan and prepare for it before you leave, until you get out there and start spending money without having a job where you're working, spending your own money. Spending all that money you saved up over all them years, all you had to go through to put it back. It ain't easy, man. It takes a lot of learning, a lot of practice to get used to it. And the summer months are our most expensive months. We got our taxes due. We tend to do more, more chance for injury. I'm out and about more. So we tend to blow through cash just like crazy in the summer months. But see, this morning we went. We spent $1,100 before we even had breakfast. Had to buy a set of tires for the truck there, and then I had to get. Didn't have to. It's not a necessity, but we had one of our tire sensors going bad on the car. It had went out, is what it done. But heck, the car's 13 years old. No, it's 11 years old. So it's about time for them to start going bad. So I wanted to go ahead and replace that. It's not a necessity. Like the wife said this morning, people went 80 years driving a vehicle without having having something like that. Never had no problems. But I just wanted to replace it. I try to keep the stuff up as best I can, even something minor like that. But and the wife went with me. She drove the car. I drove the truck. And I figured she'd be done before me. She could go on about her day. But she went with me. She wrote the check for it. And it wasn't that big a struggle for us. We've got, I'm almost a year and a half in, and we've gotten to the point where it's I don't want to say it's no big deal, but it's we've gotten comfortable with the idea of spending. It doesn't affect us like it did just a year ago or 2 years ago. We understand how it's going to work. We understand, hey man, we got the money in there. If something comes up like that, you spend it. Don't let it take you down and bother you as much as it did us. We'll never be comfortable with it. We was just talking about it in there just a little bit ago, and I was telling her about how far she's come in that matter. I don't know if y'all remember, but the year before I retired, in 22, we had to replace a hot water heater. I don't know what that was. It's something like $700 or something. And she wrote a check for that. And I asked her if she wanted me to hold her hand, because it just ticks her off to spend something. Hey man, I tell people all the time, if it weren't for her, man, I'd be I'd be homeless, living under a bridge somewhere, eating at a local homeless shelter. All I had to do, I had the easiest part of our relationship, our marriage, man. All I had to do was make the money. She had to figure out how we could live on it. That's what she did. That's the hardest part. But we've come a long way. It's never going to be kosher with us, comfortable and all right. But learning that we had to learn that we could spend and not go hungry. You know what I mean? We could still make our bills if any. When the electric bill come, we could still pay it. With that, we had to learn. We were able to do all that without having a job, and that's a hard thing to get used to, man. And I knew it beforehand. I expected it to be hard, and I don't expect it to ever get okay with us. But the weekend, man, we spent a pile of money. Started off on Friday, the daggone microwave went out. Once again, that's not a necessity, but we used the snot out of it, warming up food, leftovers. You know, maybe thawing some chicken or something. Or sometimes the baby will use it for melting butter so she can coat the biscuits or rolls or whatever she makes with it. Stuff like that. It's not a necessity, but it's gotten to be. It's like everything else. But hey, man, I made a video Friday and Monday, but I tend to come off as preachy or telling you what to do, and I ain't qualified to tell nobody what to do. We're just figuring things out as we go along. I guess it's more of a learning through what I did, maybe. But some things I did last year. I talked about breaking the ice as far as spending money. Getting used to it being okay. And I did that little by little. It's like I do everything else. Kind of dip my toe in, and then I put my whole foot in, and then I get into it. Little by little. Well, last year I bought that new cowbell. It's only a couple bucks. For Christmas. I don't know if y'all remember, I had them plastic candy canes hung up there that light up. I bought a handful of those. They were a few bucks. One thing I did do last summer was, and I've continued to do this summer, was every Friday I'd go treat myself to banana split. I love ice cream. We had to get it in our mindset that, hey, man, we're going to be fine. Little things like that all the time come up. And that's something to be remembered, too, is that, hey, man, just like having busy days and slow days in retirement, you're going to have months that you're just bleeding money left and right. But, for us, anyways, it equals out over the course of the year. Like the winter and summer, a couple of months each winter, and during the summer, our electric bill's a lot higher. But in the spring and fall, man, we don't pay hardly anything because of the heating and cooling. So you fluctuate like that, and a lot of that stuff, a lot of stuff that you spend more on. There's some other things that you end up spending less on. It kind of balances it out. It's like gas. We get gas. I get gas in the truck probably once a month now. Probably. Some months I don't have to get any. I just filled up this morning. So it might not be till September till I need it again. We'll see. And that money that I don't spend on gas next month can go towards something else that pops up. Your finances ebb and flow monthly in retirement. It's not a static number. That's like on that last video I did when I was talking about my budget. I kind of screwed that up, man. It was kind of confusing. I apologize. I know what I'm talking about because I'm living it, but you guys don't. You guys are from the outside in, don't have no idea. And it made sense to me, but I'm afraid I might have give somebody the wrong idea. We're actually going up on our spending, but our budget is not going up any at all, is what it is. Our budget was $3,300, $3,000 for spending, $300 for a buffer, and that $3,000 included my truck payment, which was $300. I come up with that $300 because it was 10%. I added 10% for a buffer just in case something went wrong and I screwed up. But we started eating into that $300 buffer on our regular monthly bills. And it's because daggone taxes went up, our insurance went up, health insurance. And the house is I think the houses went up about $50 a month over the past 3 years. Stuff just finally got to the point where we had to start using that and using it more. And down towards the end of that video is when I said I reallocated, you know, because when I'm using that truck payment when we pay it off as a raise. That's my first built-in raise in retirement. So when that goes away, I can go ahead and spend $3 grand a month, just like I always have, and that 300 from the truck will be our buffer. You know, I've started to eat into my buffer, but then I take 300 away for the truck, and it, you know, so we're back down to $3 grand spending a month like normal, and that truck payment will be my buffer. It replaces the 300 we had started getting eat into. You know, that probably just confused you even more. But we've made a lot of headway on getting comfortable with that stuff. To where, hey man, we still don't like handing the money out, but we understand the process a lot more. You know, retirement ain't nothing but learning, adjusting, and rolling with life, man. That's all it is. Same thing you've done all your life, but now you ain't working. You know, it takes time to get used to this stuff, man. A lot of stuff you have to relearn. So, I don't know, man. But y'all take care of yourselves, man. You enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll talk at you later.